Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. Today on the podcast, we're talking about how easy it is to tear things down versus how hard it is to build them. Specifically, I'm talking about things like businesses and culture. So, I have been hearing over the last few years so many people taking advice when building a business from people who have no fucking idea or experience in building a business. And then people come back to me and say, I took my advice from this person and it didn't work. If you are looking for people to help you with things, whether it be a consultant or a mentor or anybody that you are taking advice from on a serious level. And what I mean by that is if you are using information to then go and make decisions, make sure that the people that you are taking that advice from are well informed. So it's not just that they understand how to do the thing that you've specifically asked them about. It's that you want to know that they're aware of the things around the thing that you've asked them about so that they can anticipate any blind spots that might be coming. This is important because we see ourselves in a situation right now where the business model for the consumer end of the coffee value chain is rapidly changing. And when I say rapidly, I mean week to week it's changing. And in some concentrated parts of this pandemic, we are seeing that it's changing daily based on whether there's a second surge or whether people are reopening, etc., etc. Excuse me. When you add to that a group of people who are looking to influence the way that that discussion is happening, you start to see some friction happening. And we spoke on the last episode about friction. Now, if we draw from that and we say, okay, friction is good. And what I mean by that is you have a business model that's evolving. And as a part of the evolution of that, we're coming to realize hard and fast as an industry that employees are unhappy with their pay rates en masse and they're unhappy with their work conditions. The friction there exists when those two start finally communicating, those two parties start communicating that with each other. If the business model is unfolding and you need staff or you need to make changes and your staff are saying to you, I'm unhappy, I need you to pay me more, I feel unsafe, I think you're racist, I don't think that we support people of color or sexual orientation fairly enough, or any of the other minority groups. The way that you handle that friction point is going to be formative in the way that your business model unfolds after that. So what do? If you're unsure and you're let's say a somewhat learned business person who understands that when new things happen, the best thing to do is go and seek advice, go and talk to people, have conversations, find out what other people are doing. You may seek information or you will seek information from people. If you go and ask people who don't know how a business is run, they may just turn around and say to you, well, it's simple, just pay people more. if they make that statement not understanding how a profit and loss statement works or a balance sheet works, or they've never actually built a business knowing how narrow the profit margins are in a coffee-focused business like a cafe, that's dangerous. They won't know how much work went into building this business that you have that operates on about 3% net profit when you're running at full capacity. They won't know that. They won't understand that you've now been pulled back to 20% capacity and your staff is asking for a 15% increase. And labor is your largest expense in your fixed costs. They won't understand that language. And so quickly, by just advising you, just pay them more without a strategy to figure out how you're going to work that out in your profit and loss statement, then you're going to run into a lot of trouble. And very quickly, you're going to start to see that whole thing tear down way quicker than what it took for you to build it. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous to take advice from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Whether it be on a podcast, whether it be as a consultant, whether it be as an employee, as a friend, whatever. Recently, a friend said to me, "Hey, I want you to tell me what you think of my new logo." And my response was, "What do you think of your new logo?" And he said, "So you don't like it?" And I said to him, "It doesn't matter whether I like it." He had changed his logo. And he said, "But it does matter. I'm asking you your opinion." And I said, "It doesn't matter. I don't have to live with the consequences of your actions." And who knows what better really means? Building businesses is hard. Building careers is hard. You have to live with the consequences of the decisions that you make. Find people that will inform those decisions high grade. Don't take advice from people about really important things when they don't know what they're talking about. So this requires you to find out if people understand what the fuck they're talking about and demonstrate that. It also requires you to know what you're talking about. Because if you don't, then you won't know that they don't know what they're talking about. This is why I want more people to become literate in the coffee value chain, in profit and loss statements, in culture building, in leadership, in all of these things before they come into coffee. We don't need more coffee businesses. We need more well-run coffee businesses. Well-run means that you understand how hard this is going to be. You understand the friction points of what's coming. You have a network of supportive people that are there to have your back, that you can go to, that will inform you of, hey, listen, this is normal. We all experience this, and keep going. That's just an example of how valuable it can be to have people who are informed advising you. One challenging thing that we're experiencing right now with regards to tearing things down is cancel culture. And I doubt that there are people who listen to this podcast that advocate for cancel culture. But in case there is, and you happen to be listening to this, and you're somebody who just wants to tear all this shit down, I understand the desire to destroy the system. I am pretty fed up with the system myself. I'm fed up with a system that biases against women. I'm fed up with a system that biases people based on their race and being different. I'm fed up with a system that doesn't think logically. I'm fed up with a system that tricks you using wizardry and fuckery to buy stuff. Because if you have stuff, you'll feel better. I'm fed up with a system that encourages against critical thinking. I'm not anti-capitalism. I'm anti-corruption. I'm anti-wizardry and fuckery. I think there's a way that we can operate in a capitalistic system that has room for other systems to exist, that isn't about who holds all the power. So I've thought about this a lot. I see your desire to break the system down. But what I would encourage is that you start to cultivate some empathy for how hard it is to build businesses, for how hard it is to build careers. And remember and understand that you can tear this shit down. You can destroy it, and you can look at these walls that exist and figure out the way you're going to cause this destruction. But please remember that with destruction comes rubble. And with everything that all of us destroy, we can't avoid the rubble that's left once the destruction has taken place. And so if you're not considering how you're destroying things, you're just going in there and ripping it down, you definitely haven't explored how you're going to deal with the rubble of what you've destroyed. And I suggest that you probably haven't stopped to think if this wall needs to come down. Is the wall protecting you from something more heinous on the other side? And are you taking a beat to figure out how you're going to deal with that other thing as well as dealing with the destruction of this wall? There are things that absolutely need to be destroyed. But cancel culture isn't taking into consideration the rubble that we're all going to be left with. And I think that's an important thing for all of us to ponder. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Feel free to leave them in the comments below or to email us and let us know what you think. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.